Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is what exactly is sila? Is virtue or morality? This is a question which Acharya Buddharakkhita was confronted with when he went to Ceylon from India to learn the original teachings of the Buddha which were forgotten. And this was in 5th century AD. Already the original teaching, the Theravada known as Theravada, the teaching of the wise ones, are completely gone in North India. Or it was there in various pockets, that's all, but not available. So his teacher in Buddhagaya told him, you go to Ceylon, and there they have preserved. That is how he went there. And then he studied, he learned, he came to know the whole thing. He wanted to now take back to India that great heritage of the original teachings of the Buddha in the form of the Vitaka and the Arthakathas. So now the Sinhala Mahatheras were all very noble and great ones. They wanted to test him and they said, all right, you show your knowledge and your insight into the teachings of the Buddha. Then we will give you all the writings that you want to do. You can do that. All the Arthakathas, commentary and literature, you can translate them into the original language of Pali in which the Buddhas gave his teaching. So they gave him one gatha, one verse which said a certain Deva had approached the Buddha. It is in Sangyukta Nikaya. There it is said, Anto jata bahi jata jataya jatita paja. Anto means inside, antaram. Within ourselves there are these tangles. Anto jata. Bahi jata. In the external world around us also there are jata, there are tangles. The whole world is jataya jatita paja. The entire humanity, the entire world, the world of beings and the external world are completely, you see, filled with all kinds of jatas, tangles. Basically mental entanglements that keep a being caught and bound in the wheel of samsara. So he says, Anto jata bahi jata. There are these tangles within and there are these tangles around, without, all around the world. Jataya jatita paja, the entire humanity and all that are caught in this tremendous network of tangles. Tang tang puchhami Gotama, O great Gotama, the Lord Gotama, the Supremely Enlightened One, I ask you to learn. Ko imang vijate jatang, he says. He puts a question. Who is it that can disentangle this entire mass of tangles which are everywhere within and without, both in the inner world and the external world? The Buddha immediately answered, Sile patithaya naro sapanju. Naro sapanju. A wise person, that means a person who is born with native wisdom. Jati panyaya buddhito. A child which is born with wisdom, because because of his high spiritual evolution. From life to life he has developed. So he's, with this native, inborn wisdom, Naro Sapanyo, Sile Patithaya, he now establishes himself on Shila, on the dimension of, it's a whole dimension, a whole world, a sphere of moral excellence, Sila, morality, of virtue. Having established himself, you see, on virtue, and Naro Sapanyo, Sile Patithaya, Naro Sapanno, now he develops his mind, having established himself in Sila, he now develops his mind with meditation, with right meditation. And Chittang, Panya Chittan Cha Bhavai, he now develops his mind and his wisdom. There is cultivated wisdom through Samatha Vipassana. He develops the mind with Samatha, then develops wisdom through Vipassana, and then Atapi Nipako Vikhu. That very, effortful, vigorous monk, so imang vijataye jatan. It is he who can disentangle all these tanglements of the world, both within and without. Now this gatha, one gatha that the Buddha, declared to a particular Deva who had come and asked him the question, that became the subject, for Acharya Buddharakkhita, and he wrote an entire, great book called Vishuddhimagga, the path of purification. And it consists of three sections, one on Shila, the other on meditation, samadhi, meditative concentration, and the other on Panya, wisdom, which actually the Noble Eightfold Path, or rather the middle path that we have been discussing in this, during this course of talks. In this series we have been discussing on the middle path. Middle path is no other path than the Noble Eightfold Path, consisting of Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Development, training in and development of Shila, moral excellence, moral virtue, Samadhi, mind itself, and Panya, wisdom, which simply means the capacity to penetrate into the reality of ultimate truth, the Four Noble Truths. So now we have been discussing on that, and in the last discourse we mentioned that Shila has to be very methodically cultivated, just and developed and nurtured in the way that a child, a little baby who comes into this world, whether it's a human baby or a non-human baby, it grows in a certain fashion. When it is nurtured well, and then it grows into something very great. So Sila has to be viewed in that way. It is the very foundation, Adhara, Upadharanam iti Silam. What is Shila, the Vishuddhimagga? In that Acharya Buddharakkhita said, what is Sila? King Silam. What exactly is Sila? Is morality or moral training and moral purification, or virtue or virtuous life, whatever you may call it. These are translations. You can put it in so many ways, in so many words. But words are not important. The meaning underlying the words, that is important. And here the Sila means Chetana iti Sila Patisambhida Magga. There the Bhagavan himself, he said, what is Sila? Chetana is Sila. Sila is volition, which means karma. Karma patha here in this particular context. Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami. Chetayitva kammang karoti kayena vacha manasa. Ye monks, I define and declare that a karma is no other than volition, will to act. The intention to act either bodily or verbally or mentally. That is karma. So karma ultimately is a mental phenomena, and Shila being karma, a volitional action, is ultimately a mental, non-corporeal phenomena. It's a non-material phenomenon. So now how the Acharya goes on telling, Silang iti patisambhida magge agatavya, chetana iti silang, chetasikang iti silang, sangvara iti silang, avitikamo iti silang. In 4 ways you can define what Sila is. Sila as Chetana, which means kamma, volitional action and intentional action. And this intentional action either in the form of bodily action or in the form of verbal or speech action or in the form of thinking or fantasizing or imagining, all kinds of mental activities. Mental action. So in these 3 distinct forms, this volitional action manifests itself. Now what exactly, we have to understand the importance of Chetana here. Now a modern analogy comes into the mind. The best way to explain it would seem that a Sila, a Chetana, is something like a lighter, a petrol lighter. Now nowadays you have got these little devices. You just click and the flame comes up. Now the mechanism is pretty simple. Inside there is a wheel which is with an abrasive which rubs on a little, magnetic little stick. And when this, if you do that like this, put it down and with a spring, and now this rubs on that and creates a spark. And by the side there is this petrol. And this spark ignites the petrol, just a bit of it. It also simultaneously, puts. And so the spark, becomes a flame. It explodes, it ignites. That flame ignites and the petrol becomes carbon monoxide, and that gas explodes. Now this explosion or what's an ignition in the form of flame. And then you put this flame into any use you like, whether you light your cigarette or whether you light a nice candle and burn it and offer it to Lord Buddha. It depends upon you. You light a cigarette and burn your lungs, fill it with carbon dioxide and begin to cough all the time. get addicted, become a slave, and create a karma based upon craving for cigarette, for this tobacco. And that craving grows into upadana, into attachment for it. You are addicted and you have to smoke, otherwise you can't go even to the bathroom. I am giving you my experience. Only when the cigarette is lighted, you will have a clear motion. Otherwise, no. You won't enjoy your food either unless you have a cigarette. Now this is the case with the world. People are addicted with themselves, with the idea of I. I am, this is my property, this is my wife, this is my husband, these are my children, these are my properties. These are the cigarettes, my dear. Addicted to that. Keep on doing action after action, all defiled action, based upon lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha is greed, or the passion for enjoyment, passion for enjoying pleasures, worldly, sensual pleasures, or the craving to exist, keep on existing life after life. No end. Keep on coming and going, being born, die, and being reborn. This cycle, this whole wheel of samsaric existence, ad infinitum, there is no end. You have your cigarette and you are born in the lower planes of existence. Because of this addiction to worldly pleasure. Cigarette gives you pleasure. Kama. This pleasure, running after the pleasure of owning property and mind and bank balance. Running after sex. Running after all kinds of things all the time. Craving. And where does it land you? To the lower planes of existence, below the human, subhuman states of existence, either as animal, or as a ghost, or as an asura, demoniac being, or if it is a horrible crime, because you can't get your cigarette, you kill somebody. Horrible crime, you may kill your own mother, just for this craving, addiction. And that lands you in a place called hell, niraya, naraka. So now, these are the lower planes of existence where suffering is 24 hours. Suffering, bodily suffering, mentally suffering. In every way, the whole life is absolutely miserable, miserable, miserable. And you can't come out of that state. Once you drop there, it's very, very difficult to come out. It is only a Buddha, a supremely enlightened master of gods and human beings, that can rescue you with the discovery of the ultimate truth. So now if you understand this, that this craving for pleasure, craving for enjoyment, craving for name and fame, craving for property, craving for power. You want to wield power, political power. So you create theories of all kinds. And you may even use religion for that. And set one religion against the other and create misery among hundreds, thousands, millions of human beings. And just for power. It's the same old craving. The craving for cigarette. Now if you are a wise person, if you are born with wisdom, naro sapanjo, if you are born with sufficient wisdom, tihetuka jnana, Then what happens with this wisdom? You know that craving has no end. As much as you follow and run after it, it keeps on going unending. Endlessly and aimlessly you go on. You are drifting in the ocean of craving. So you said, no, I will not be a slave to crave. I am going to restrain myself. I give up cigarette consciously and deliberately, and then suffer for giving up. For days together you can't get your bathroom clean because the addiction you have now renounced. You can't eat properly, you can't go about working properly, you become sour, you get temperamental, you hit somebody because you can't get your this. So after all these periods you exercise your khanti, patience, forbearance, you enduring patience, you endure your suffering for having given up your cigarette. Spiritual path starts with giving up. Not easy. Religion may tell you, no, you go and have your cigarette, never mind, and then do this, you eat this, go to this doctor, go to that, and do all kinds of things, and you get along with that, and get along with samsara. But those who are serious, they said, no getting along with the world. We must not go along with the world, but we must transcend the world. Go beyond the world. So that starts with yourself, training yourself, disciplining yourself. That is Sila. Sila Sikha, Sila Vinaya. That is Sila discipline. Self-discipline in order to bring about self-restraint, self-control, which is a lot